The alarm woke everyone on station at 3 in the morning. Dr. Carter was in his small quarters when the red lights started flashing. He pulled on his uniform quickly and ran to the monitoring room. His heart was beating hard. In 15 years of working on the station, he had never heard this alarm before. The station commander, Victor Grant, was already there. Grant was a tall man with gray at his temples and a face that showed years of stress. Around him, technicians worked fast at their screens, calling out readings and numbers. "What is it?" asked. Grant did not look at him. "A pod, old design. It came out of nowhere on the edge of our scan range. It is damaged and falling toward us." Moved closer to the screens. He could see the pod now, spinning slowly in the black. It was small, meant for one person. The metal was burned and broken in several places. Whatever had happened to it, it had been happening for a long time. "Can we catch it?" asked. "We are trying," a technician said. She had yellow hair and sharp eyes. Her name was Lisa. "Adjusting tractor beam now. The pod is old, very old, at least 20 years. The next 3 minutes felt like hours. Watched as the tractor beam caught the pod and pulled it slowly toward the dock. The pod moved like a wounded animal being brought in from the cold. Sparks flew from its damaged sections. The power systems were failing. When it locked into the dock, everyone stopped moving. "Pressure seal," Grant ordered. "Now." The bay filled with air. When the pressure was right, the team moved in wearing full suits. Went with them. He wanted to see what was inside. The pod was smaller than he thought. It was made of materials he did not recognize right away. The symbols on the walls were faded. Could see some letters that were human, but the language was old, maybe 40 years old. A technician pulled the inner door. It came open slowly with sounds of metal scraping. Inside, there was a pod made for sleeping, a cryogenic chamber. The glass was fogged, but through it they could see a shape, a person, a body. "Is she alive?" asked. Nobody answered for a moment. Then Lisa checked the systems. "Life signs are very weak. The pod is barely working, but yes, she is alive, barely." They brought her to the medical bay, helped carry her. She was light, almost too light. Her skin was cold, her hair was dark, and her face looked young. She could be 20 or 30. It was hard to tell because of the cold. Dr. Susan Mills took over in the medical bay. She was the station's main doctor, a woman who had seen many strange things in her career. She ran scanners over the girl while watched. "Human," Susan said. "She is human, completely human. All the markers are there. DNA is human. Blood type is human. Everything." Grant came into the bay. "How is she?" "Alive," Susan said. "Barely. She has been in that pod for a very long time. Her body was in deep freeze, but the systems were failing. Another week and she would have died." "Can she wake up?" asked. "Maybe if we do this right, but she will need time." It took 5 days before she opened her eyes. Was sitting beside her bed when it happened. She did not move much. Her eyes just opened very slowly. She looked at the white ceiling for a long time, then she looked at. "Where am I?" Her voice was soft, like she had not used it in years. "You are safe," said. "You are on station. We found you in a pod. Do you remember the pod?" She did not answer. Her eyes closed again and she slept. Over the next 2 weeks, she woke up more. Her name was, that was what they found on the pod, nothing else. No family, no destination, no explanation for where she came from. Spent a lot of time with her. It was his job as the station's to study new life forms, and even though she was human, finding a human floating in space was strange enough to warrant study. Was kind and patient. She asked questions about the station and about the aliens who lived and worked here. There were many species on station. Humans made up only part of the crew. There were the Vex, who were tall and thin with blue skin. There were the who looked like they were made of stone. There were others, too, seemed to find them beautiful. "This is my first time seeing anything like this," she told one day. "So many different kinds of people all working together." "Where do you come from?" asked. He had asked this before, but each time she seemed to remember something new. Looked out the window at the stars. "Storms," she said. "I remember red skis, purple clouds. It was hot, very hot, and everything was heavy. My suit was heavy. I could barely move in my suit." Wrote this down. Red skis, purple clouds, extreme heat. Extreme gravity, maybe. It sounded like a place that did not exist. Or maybe a place that had not been found yet. "I remember my mother said. She was a doctor. She made things, medical things. She said I was special, that I would be strong. She put me in the pod. She said to go to the council. She said they would help me. Do you remember anything else? Asked. Fire said the whole world was on fire. Grant and the medical team wanted to keep her in quarantine for 2 more weeks. They were careful about bringing unknown humans onto the station, but the tests kept showing the same thing. She was human. No diseases, no hidden weapons, no technology implanted in her body. On the day they released her to normal station quarters, walked with down the white corridors of station. She moved carefully, like her body was still learning how to work in the lower gravity. Thank you for taking care of me, she said. That is what we do here, said. Where will I go, she asked. I have no home, no family, no memory of how I got in that pod. Did not have an answer. Nobody did. Had appeared from nowhere, a human girl with a head full of broken memories and a past that no one could explain. That night was in his quarters when his computer chimed. A message had come in on the secure channel from the deep archives. He had put out a request for any information about human colonies or lost ships from 20 years ago. 3 weeks after arrived on station, things started to go wrong. Not wrong exactly, but strange. It started in the oxygen recycling section. That room was at the heart of the station, where all the air was cleaned and made fresh again. A pipe burst. It was old metal that had failed after years of use. The pressure inside the room was massive. The alarm screamed through the station. 3 crew members were in there when it happened. They were trapped behind the broken pipe. The pressure in the room was going up. In another minute, the doors would seal and the section would be cut off from the rest of the station. Those 3 people would die. Was in the corridor nearby. She had been learning the station, walking and exploring. When the alarm started, she knew something was wrong. She could feel it. She ran toward the sound. Was running too. He was behind her. He was shouting at her to get away, to go back to safe areas, but did not stop. The door to the oxygen section was closing. It was heavy, made of steel 3 inches thick. It was designed to cut off the damaged section and protect the rest of the station. Put her hands against the door. And she stopped it. Saw it happen. The door was closing fast, grabbed it with both hands. Her arms went tight, her face went red, and the door slowed. It stopped. The 3 crew members inside could see the opening. They ran. 1 made it through. Then 2 more. And then let the door go. It slammed shut with a sound like thunder. Alarms were still screaming. Engineers were running. Grant arrived and was shouting orders. In the noise and confusion, pulled aside. How did you do that? He asked. Was breathing hard. Her hands were shaking. I don't know, she said. I just didn't want them to die. Looked at her hands. There were no marks, no bruises. The door was made of metal that could stop radiation and pressure. A normal human could not have touched it without breaking their fingers. Susan ran scans on again. The scans looked the same as before, human, all human, but something was different. Could see it in Susan's face. What? He asked when they were alone. I don't know, Susan said, but the tests show something. Increased bone density, stronger muscle fibers, not by much, not so much that we would notice it by looking at her. But it is there. Is she still human? Asked. Susan did not answer right away. I don't know, she said. The second incident happened 4 days later. It was in the lab, was working there with. She had been helping him organize samples. She was good at it. She followed instructions well. She was fast. A container fell from a shelf. It was a chemical compound, something dangerous. It was meant to be handled with special equipment. The container broke. The liquid spilled. And it ignited. Fire spread across the floor. It was hot. It was orange and blue. The alarm started again, shouted at to get back. But moved forward. She grabbed a metal container and used it to push the burning liquid toward the drain. Her hands were bare. There was nothing protecting her skin. The fire was right there, touching her arms. Could not move. He was watching. He could see the flames hit her skin. Red-hot flames. They should have burned her. They should have left marks. They should have hurt her. She pushed the liquid to the drain and it went down. The fire died. The emergency system flooded the area with foam. Turned to look at. Are you hurt? He asked. No, she said. I am fine. But her arms were red. Not burned red, just hot red like she had been in the sun too long. That was all. Looked closer at her skin. It was different, not human skin. It was thicker somehow, denser. It did not have the same texture as normal skin. Grant pulled him away from her again. "This is not normal," the commander said. He was angry, but underneath the anger could hear fear. "She saved 2 situations," said. "She helped people." "She is not human," Grant said. "Whatever she is not human. The tests say she is, but she is not. No human can do what she did." "We should study her," said. "We should try to understand what she is." "Or we should lock her up," Grant said, "before she hurts someone." Went to the archives that night. He dug deeper into the files about Gravity 12. He found more information. The colony had been established 50 years ago with volunteers, special volunteers, people who had been modified genetically to handle the high gravity and heat. The modifications were supposed to make their bodies stronger, denser bones, harder skin, muscles that could work in extreme conditions. The colony had sent transmissions for 30 years. Then 20 years ago, the transmissions stopped. A rescue mission was sent. It found nothing. The planet had a catastrophic event. A solar storm had hit. The surface temperature had risen thousands of degrees. Everything had burned. But what if someone had survived? What if someone had been protected? What if someone had been put in a pod and sent away before the fire came? Went to see. She was in her quarters now, no longer in the medical bay. She was sitting by the window looking at the stars. "I remember more," she said before he could ask anything. "I remember my mother's face. She was crying. She was putting me in the pod. The sky was red. Everything was shaking. She said she loved me. She said I was strong, stronger than anyone. She said the world was burning and I had to go. I had to survive." "Your mother's name?" asked. Said, "Doctor, she was making us special, making us strong. So we could live there, so we could survive the heat and the pressure." Felt cold. "Where?" he asked. "Gravity 12 said. We were on Gravity 12. That night, Grant called a meeting. He told that was being moved to a secure facility. For safety reasons, he said. For her own protection, he said. But could see the fear in Grant's eyes. The commander thought was a weapon, something created in a lab, something dangerous. The secure facility was underground beneath the station. They took there in the morning. The guards were armed, though they tried to hide it. Grant did not come with them. He did not need to. The message was clear. Was a prisoner now. Tried to see her, but they would not let him. He complained to the medical board. He argued that she needed psychological support. He said keeping her locked up would cause damage. Grant overruled him. "She is a security risk," the commander said. "We do not know what she is. We do not know what she can do. We do not know what she wants. Until we do, she stays where she is." Spent his days in the archives, searching for more information about Gravity 12. He found records of the colony personnel. There was a doctor listed as chief geneticist. There was no record of any children. But the records were incomplete. The colony had kept some information private. The council did not require them to list everything. 4 days after was locked up, the alarms started again. But this time it was different. This time it was. She was screaming. Heard it on the emergency channel. The guards in the secure facility were calling for medical support. Was having some kind of attack. She was convulsing. Ran to the facility. He got there as they were moving her to the medical bay. Her body was shaking. Her eyes were rolling back. Her skin was burning hot. Susan was trying to understand what was happening. "It is like a memory attack," she said. "But I have never seen anything like it. It is physical. It is in her nervous system. It is everywhere at once." For 6 hours screamed. Then it stopped. She was exhausted. Her body was soaked with sweat, but her eyes were open and they were clear. Was sitting beside her. "I remember," she said. Her voice was rough. "I remember everything now." "Tell me," said. "I was 6 years old," began. "I was born on Gravity 12. I was already different from other children. My mother made me different. She had changed my genetics before I was born. She wanted to help the colony. She wanted to make children who could survive there, children who could live in the heat and the pressure, children who would grow strong." Listened. "I grew up fast," continued. "Faster than normal children. My body adapted to the gravity. The heat did not hurt me. My skin became hard. My bones became dense. I was different and everyone knew it. But my mother said it was good. She said I was the future." Paused, breathing hard. "The day it happened, I was playing outside the settlement. I was 6, but I had the body and mind of maybe a 10-year-old because of the accelerated growth. The sun was darker than Earth's sun, but the radiation was stronger. The storms came without warning. A solar storm. The atmosphere started changing. The temperature started going up. In minutes, it was 40 degrees hotter. In an hour, it was 80 degrees hotter. The sky turned red. Then it turned purple. Then it turned black. Everyone ran inside the shelters. My mother found me. She was not scared. She was calm. She told me she had prepared for this. She said she had always known it might happen. She put me in a pod, a cryogenic pod. She programmed it to send me away. She told me I would go to sleep, that I would wake up somewhere safe, that people would help me. She told me she loved me. Then she sealed me inside, and I went asleep. Was crying now. I have been asleep for 20 years, she said. I did not age, I did not grow. I was stuck at the moment she put me in the pod, 6 years old, 7 years old biologically. And then I woke up here and time started again. Held her hand. Your mother, he asked. She died, said. The fire came, the shelter failed, everyone died. The colony burned, everything burned, but I was already gone. I was in the pod, I was safe because she saved me. Understood now, the strength, the heat resistance, the dense skin was not some weapon. She was the result of a mother's love, a mother who had changed her daughter to survive a harsh world, and then protected her the only way she could. Grant came to the medical bay. I know what you are, he said to. You are some kind of biological weapon, created in a lab, designed to be superior. I am human, said. My mother was human, she made me human, just different, just stronger because she loved me. You are a threat, Grant said. I saved people, said. I did not hurt anyone, I used what I am to help. Grant turned to, keep her sedated. I am going to contact the council. They need to know about this. They need to decide what to do with her. He left. Stayed with her. What will happen to me? She asked. I do not know, said, but I will help you. Whatever happens, I will help you. I just want to know if my mother survived, said, if there is any chance she is alive somewhere. Did not answer. He did not have hope to give her. The record said everyone on Gravity 12 had died. The heat was too much. The shelter systems failed. There was no way anyone could have survived. But he thought about what he had learned. He thought about's mother, who had changed her. He could not let Grant send to the council lockup. He could not let her become a prisoner because she was different, because she was something that the council did not understand and therefore feared. He found Morgan in the engineering section, was an engineer who worked on the ship systems. He was quiet, kept to himself, but knew he was a good man, had worked with him for 5 years. I need your help, said. They sat in his office, a small room filled with screens and cables. Told him everything, about Gravity 12, about the genetic modifications that made her what she was. Listened without speaking. When finished, said, she is a person, that is all that matters. Will you help me? Asked. Yes, said. The escape took 3 hours to plan. Knew the station better than anyone. He knew the maintenance tunnels. He knew which security systems could be disabled without raising alarms. Went to in the medical bay. She was sedated but not deeply, woke her up. We are leaving, he said. Where? She asked, still groggy. Away from here, away from the council, to somewhere safe. Came with a medical transport. They put on it. To anyone watching, it would look like they were moving her to a different section for treatment. The maintenance tunnels were narrow and dark, but knew them. He guided them through like he had walked them 1,000 times. Could hear us breathing. She was scared. He was scared too. If they were caught, he would lose his job. He might face charges. Why are you doing this? Asked. Because it is right, said. Behind them, the station continued its work. No one knew they were gone. They made it to the docking bay. A small transport ship sat there, had already prepared it. Food, water, navigation systems, everything they would need to escape. I am coming with you, said. Was surprised. I was tired of this place anyway, said. They moved into the ship, started the engines, the docking clamps released. And they were free. But not for long. The alarm started 30 seconds after they left the dock. Grant had noticed they were gone. He had realized what had done. And that was when the attack happened. It came without warning. Ships appeared on the sensors, not council ships, something else. Pirates, A rogue fleet. They had been tracking station for weeks. They wanted the technology stored there, the advanced weapons systems, the research. They opened fire. The station's defenses tried to respond, but the pirates had the advantage of surprise. Was flying hard, trying to get away from the station, but the attack was pulling the station's attention away from him. They are not going to chase us, said, looking at the sensors. They are focused on the station. The station will be destroyed, said. Yes, said. Was looking out the window. She could see the station. She could see the weapons fire. The station that had held her prisoner was about to be destroyed. The people there, she said. The crew members, the ones who helped me, they are going to die. We cannot help them, said. But was already moving. What are you doing? Asked. Helping, said. She opened the airlock. No, shouted. But it was too late, stepped out into the vacuum. And watched in horror. And then they saw her moving, floating, between the ship and the station. Her body was exposed to the vacuum, the radiation, the heat of the weapon fire. She was alive. She was moving like there was no pressure trying to kill her, no radiation burning her cells, no cold trying to freeze her solid. She grabbed hold of a pirate ship, one of the smaller attack fighters. She ripped the weapons system out of its mounting. The weapons fire stopped. Then she moved to another ship, and another. In 5 minutes, she had disabled 6 pirate fighters. The pirate fleet commander realized what was happening. He ordered the fleet to retreat. They could not fight something like that, something that could survive the vacuum, something that could tear apart their ships with bare hands. The fleet left. The battle was over. But something had changed. Everyone on station had seen what happened. They had seen on their sensors. They had seen her in the vacuum. They had seen her save the station. Grant was in the command center, watching. Had left a data file before he left. A message. It contained everything, the truth about Gravity 12, the recordings of what she had said. And now sent another signal, a broadcast to all council stations. This is Dr. Carter, he said. I am reporting a situation. The girl you wanted to lock up is not a weapon. She is not a threat. She is a person. She survived something no one should have survived. And she just saved station from a pirate attack. Her name is, and her blood was forged in gravity and fire. The broadcast went out across the galaxy. By the time it ended, everyone knew. The girl who did not belong to any known species was actually human, but not just human. She was the result of genetic science that no one had thought possible. And she had chosen to save people instead of run. Brought the ship around. He guided it back toward the station. Was standing in the airlock when he opened it. Her skin was red from radiation and heat, but she was not hurt. Her eyes were calm. Why did you come back? Asked. Because they are my people, she said. And you are my people. Even if you do not know what I am, you helped me. You tried to protect me. That makes you family. Did not know what to say. Helped back into the ship. And this time, when they approached the station, Grant did not send weapons. He sent a docking request. When entered the command center, Grant was waiting. The commander looked at for a long moment. You were right, Grant said. She is not a threat. It was not an apology, but it was close. Was standing behind, they sent a special investigator to station. Her name was Dr. Helen Foster. She was a tall woman with sharp features and a mind that did not accept easy explanations. She questioned for 4 hours. She questioned for 6 hours. She looked at the genetic data. She looked at the historical records from Gravity 12. She looked at everything. In the end, she understood. This is real, she said in the final meeting. Is human, genetically modified human but human. The modifications made by her mother were not weapons. They were survival tools. They were designed to help humans live in extreme environments. Grant asked, is she a threat? No, Foster said. But she is valuable, very valuable. The knowledge about how her mother did this. It could change how humans approach space colonization. It could allow humans to settle worlds that are now impossible. The Galactic Council made an official announcement. Was not a prisoner. She was not a weapon. She was a person with extraordinary abilities that came from legitimate genetic science. She could stay on station or go where she wished. But many things had changed. Some people on the station treated differently now. Some with fear, some with respect, some with wonder. Grant requested a private meeting with. She agreed. Waited outside. When Grant came out, his face was serious, but something had changed in his eyes. Something had softened. "I owe you an apology," the commander said to. "You were scared," said. "I understand I am scared too sometimes about what I am." It was an answer that Grant did not deserve, but he accepted it. 3 weeks after the broadcast, received a message. It was encrypted, it came from deep space, the sender was unknown. But when decrypted it, he fell backwards in his chair. The message said, "My name is Dr. I am's mother, I am alive. I have been searching for my daughter, I saw the broadcast, I know she is safe, I am coming to find her." Printed the message and brought it directly to. She read it once, then she read it again. Then she started to cry. "My mother is alive," she whispered. "Where is she?" asked. "I do not know," said, "but she is coming to find me." The reunion happened 1 month later. A ship arrived at station. It was small and unmarked. It came from no known port. The woman who emerged was thin and old before her time. Her hair was gray. Her skin showed the marks of someone who had lived through tremendous hardship. But her eyes were the same as Sai's. They recognized each other immediately and ran to her mother. Doctor held her daughter for the first time in 20 years. Watched from a distance, and his own eyes were wet. Later sat with and. "I survived the fire," said. "Because I was modified like I modified, I had made the same genetic changes in myself years before. I survived the heat and the radiation, but I thought was dead. I thought the pod had failed." "How did you survive?" asked. "I hid," said. "In the deep places under the colony, the temperature was cooler there, the radiation was less. I lived there for months, waiting for rescue that never came. And then I realized I had to find my daughter. I had to know if she had made it. So I left Gravity 12. I have been searching ever since." Looked at. "You are so beautiful," she said. "You are so strong." "You made me," said. "I gave you the tools," said. "But you decided to use them to save people. That is something I did not program into your genetics. That comes from somewhere else. That comes from your soul." Turned to. "Thank you for protecting my daughter," she said. "She protected herself," said, "and she protected others." Nodded. "I have more information," she said. "There are others, other people from Gravity 12. I have found evidence that some of them might have survived. Some might have escaped on other pods, some might be scattered across the galaxy." "What will you do?" asked. "I will search for them," said. "And I will try to understand my life's work. I will try to understand what I created. And I will help others understand it too, so that it is not seen as a weapon, but as a gift that lets humanity survive." The Galactic Council offered a research position. They accepted. But they also made plans to search for other survivors from Gravity 12. Grant was assigned to help organize the expedition. It took him time to adjust to what represented. But he did adjust. Because he could see the truth now, was not a threat. She was a bridge between what humans were and what humans could become. One night found on the observation deck, she was looking at the stars. "Are you scared?" he asked. "Yes," said. "My mother is here. We are searching for others. The council is watching us. Everything is changing." "That is not bad," said. "I know," said, "but I miss not knowing who I was. When I was asleep in the pod, everything was simple then." "You could not stay asleep," said. "No," said, "I could not. And I do not want to. I want to know what I am. I want to help others. I want to find the people my mother lost." She turned to look at. "Thank you," she said, "for believing in me when no one else did. It was a vessel designed for long exploration. It had laboratories and living quarters. It had advanced sensors and communication equipment. It was built to search the stars and find what was lost." The Galactic Council had given them everything they needed. Stood on the observation deck of the Pathfinder and looked out at the vast black. Her mother was beside her, was nearby, was checking the engine systems one more time. Tomorrow they would leave. They would search for the other survivors of Gravity 12. They would try to find the pods that had sent out before the colony burned. They would try to gather the lost pieces of a broken world. Put her hand on shoulder. "Are you ready?" she asked. "I do not know," said. "But we have to try. Those people are out there. They should not be alone like I was. They should know that they are not forgotten. Join them. We have supplies for 5 years," he said. "The Council has approved our route through 6 different sectors. We have identification codes that will let us access old colony databases." "It will not be easy," said. "Some pods might have failed, some people might have died in sleep, some might have landed on worlds where they did not survive. But some might be alive," said, "and we will find them." Grant had come to see them off. The commander had changed over the months. He had watched save the station. He had listened to speak about the science of survival. He had come to understand that different did not mean dangerous. "I envy you," Grant said to as they prepared to leave. "You are going to see things we can only imagine." "You could come," said. Grant smiled. "Someone needs to keep the station running, and I think you need to do this without someone from the Council watching." The departure sequence began. The ship lifted away from station. The massive structure became smaller and smaller as they traveled outward. The stars grew brighter. Plotted the first course. They would travel toward the Vex colonies first. The Vex had ancient records. They had documented many ships and pods that had passed through their region of space. Was in the navigation room, studying the star charts. Came to stand beside her. "Are you nervous?" he asked. "Very," said. "You know what you are now," said. "You know where you come from. That is more than most people have." "I know what I am," said, "but I do not know who I am. Not really. I was 6 years old when my mother put me in the pod. Now I am older, but I still have the memories of a 6-year-old mixed with the mind of someone much older. I am not sure where one stops and the other starts." "Maybe that does not matter," said. "Maybe who you are is not just what you remember or what you were. Maybe it is what you choose to do. You chose to help people. You chose to save the station. You chose to search for others who are lost. That is who you are." "Thought about that?" "That is a good way to think about it," she said. She turned back to the star charts. "The first colony records suggest a pod landed on 442C, she said. "It is a water world. If someone landed there, they would have had to survive in water. My mother's modifications would have allowed for that. The bone structure, the lung capacity, the ability to handle pressure changes." "Then that is where we go," said. The Pathfinder's engines engaged. And they began to move faster, faster, until the stars became streaks of light. The journey had begun. Was in her lab reviewing her old notes. The notes from before the colony burned, the formulas for the genetic modifications, the theories about how humans could adapt to any world. It had taken her 30 years to accept that she had not created a failure. She had created something magnificent. The modifications worked exactly as she had designed them. Was not a weapon. She was the future. And there were others who had inherited the same capabilities, others who had been born modified, others who might still be alive somewhere in the galaxy. Opened a secure communication channel. She recorded a message. It was a message to any survivors who might receive it. "This is Doctor," she said. "If you are hearing this, you came from Gravity 12. You are modified, you are strong, you are capable of surviving things that should kill you. But more than that, you are human. You have human hearts, human minds, human compassion. You were made to survive the fire. But you were made by someone who loved you. That love is part of your genetic code. That love is what makes you special. I am searching for you. If you can hear this, send a signal. Send a message. Tell us where you are. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. I am coming to find you." She sent the message out into the black. And then she waited. 6 months into their journey, they found the first survivor. A man named David. He had been in stasis on a colony world for 20 years. He had woken up to find the colony destroyed by a solar event. He had barely survived. Brought him aboard the Pathfinder. He was thin and damaged and broken, but he was alive. "There are more," he said when he could speak. "I left signals, I left messages. There are others like me, like us, all across this sector." The searches became more successful. They found a woman named Lisa on an ice world. She had adapted to the cold. Her body had handled the freezing temperatures that would have killed anyone else. They found 2 children, no more than 12 years old, on a mining colony. Their parents had been part of the original colony. They had been born after the evacuation. They were the second generation. With each person they found, understood more about who she was. She was not unique. She was not alone. She was part of a human family that had been scattered across the stars. One day, standing on the observation deck of the Pathfinder, recorded her own message. "My name is," she said. "My blood was forged in gravity and firestorms. My mother made me different so I could survive. For 20 years I was asleep. I did not know who I was or where I came from. I woke up on station as a prisoner. People feared me because I was different, but then people helped me. They believed in me. They showed me that being different was not a reason to be alone." Paused. If you are hearing this message and you are different like I am, you need to know something. You are not a weapon. You are not a mistake. You are the result of love. Someone created you. Someone protected you. Someone believed you could survive, and you have. You are alive. You are human. You belong to a family that spans the galaxy, and you are not forgotten. The message went out on all known frequencies. And across the galaxy, people who were different, people who did not fit, people who had survived the impossible, they heard it. And they began to reach out. The Pathfinder became a beacon, a ship that searched for the lost, a home for those who did not have one, stood with and as they charted a new course. "How many do you think there are?" asked. "I do not know," said. "Hundreds, maybe thousands, all scattered, all trying to survive alone." "Then we have a lot of work to do," said. "Yes," said, "but we do it together, and that is the most important thing. We do not do it alone." Looked back at station one final time. She thought about Grant, who had wanted to lock her up. She thought about Susan, who had tried to understand what she was. She thought about all the people who had feared her, but then learned to accept her. Humans were not always kind, but they could be. Humans could change. And humans could love. That was the greatest modification of all. The Pathfinder moved forward through the stars. And somewhere in the distance, other survivors were waiting. Other people forged in gravity and fire. Other people who thought they were alone. But they were not. Because was coming for them. She was coming to bring them home. And she would not stop until every lost child of gravity 12 had been found. That was the promise of her blood. That was the power of her heart. That was the truth of her journey. She was human, and humanity would endure. "That is what friends do," said. And they stood together watching the stars, knowing that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new discoveries, new answers to questions that had been asked for 20 years. The blood that flowed in its veins had been forged in gravity and fire. And it was not finished writing its story. And everyone on station could see what she was, what she had become. Not human, not alien, something new, something that had come from the fires of Gravity 12 and refused to be destroyed. To survive, who had created something new, something that went beyond what human genetics should allow. If someone could do that, maybe someone could survive fire. Maybe Smother was still alive somewhere. Maybe there was hope. But for now was locked up, and the Galactic Council would soon know her secret, and did not know if they would see a miracle or a threat. Knew better, but he also knew that no one would believe him, not yet. And was about to learn that being different meant being treated like a threat. One name came back. Gravity 12. A rogue planet with 17 times Earth's gravity. A human colony established 50 years ago, listed as destroyed 20 years ago in a planetary catastrophe. Stared at the screen for a long time. Then he got up and went back to the medical bay. Was sleeping. In the soft light, she looked almost normal, but was beginning to understand that she was anything but normal. She was something new, something that had survived something that should have killed her. And nobody on the station had any idea what she really was.